What's going on, guys? Chameleon here. Today I'm going to show you the best class setups for the newest shotgun in Modern Warfare called the JAK-12, which is actually based off the AA-12 shotgun from Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3. The JAK-12 was introduced to us with the Season 6 1.28 update, and it's similar to what the Origin was pre-NERF, but it's fully automatic, which is awesome. You'll use this shotgun to clear out rooms or entire houses, and it's pretty easy to use. This is now one of the best shotguns in the game, right up there with Dragon's Breath rounds on the R90, but you'll use them a little differently. The Origin isn't up there anymore, obviously because it got nerfed, and speaking of nerfed, there was an update today that slightly changed a few of the things with the JAK. Don't worry though, these updates are in the video and I'll go over exactly what they are so you have the most up-to-date stats and info on the gun. What do you guys think is a better shotgun, the JAK-12 or the R90? Leave me a comment below. I'll start by going over the best class to use for Warzone first, and then I'll go over the best class to use for multiplayer right after. But real quick before we start, please smash that like button and make sure you're subscribed to my channel with the notification bell on, and here we go, let's do this. To unlock the JAK-12, you'll need to get 3 hipfire kills with the shotgun in 7 different matches. This is pretty easy to do, just jump into any small map, get your 3 kills, quit the game, and then repeat. Do this 7 times until you have the gun unlocked and you're good to go. Now let's get into the attachments. First up, we have the muzzle. You have 2 solid options here. You can either go with the choke, which is what we would normally go for based on our past experience with the Origin, for example. This will give you a 10% boost in your damage ranges, and it'll give you a tighter, more consistent pellet spread. It's actually probably the best attachment for a tighter pellet spread. You'll lose some ADS from the base speed of 350 milliseconds to 367 milliseconds. But overall, the choke is a great attachment as a muzzle. However, there's also the Force-Tac Marauder. This will give you a 33% increase in your damage ranges, which won't be a big impact on the one-shot kill range, but it'll definitely help on the 2-shot range. It'll also tighten up the pellet spread, not as good as a choke, but it's still pretty good. And one of the best features of this attachment is that it has a built-in suppressor, which is huge, especially for Warzone when you want to stay hidden on the mini-map. Your mobility will drop a little, making you slower, along with your ADS down from the base speed to 400 milliseconds, and you'll lose some aim-locking steadiness, which is fine since it's irrelevant with this gun anyways. But with that all said, which muzzle should you use? Overall, the Marauder is the way to go. Mainly because of its range and sound suppression, it's definitely the safer choice. However, I will say that personally, I actually use the choke for the most part, especially when I'm playing trios or quads in Warzone, because my personal shotgun playstyle, as you guys have seen in my live streams, or you'll see at the end of this video with the gameplay, generally I run around real fast and try to outmaneuver the enemies to get in real close to them, eliminating the need for the extra range, and only then will I start blasting them with my shotgun. Meaning the extra range with the Marauder isn't as critical for me as the tighter pellet spread that comes with the choke, which lets me down them much quicker. But not everyone will be able to play like this. The choke is less forgiving, the pellets are more condensed and not as wide as the Marauder spread. So if you miss a shot with the choke, you could barely do any damage since not many pellets may hit, unlike with the Marauder. The times I usually do switch to the Marauder though is when I'm playing solos or duos, mainly for the sound suppression because those game modes consist of lots of campers, and people try to be way more stealthy in those modes as opposed to trios or quads. But either way, long story short, in my opinion, you can't go wrong with either one. That said, most people will probably use the Marauder, which is definitely the safer choice, but pick what works best for you and your playstyle. Next up, we have the barrel. You want to set this to the ZLR Torrent barrel. This will give you a 20% increase in damage range, which is a lot, and it'll help tighten up your pellet spread. You'll lose some ADS, dropping it from the base speed to 400 milliseconds, as well as a 4% loss in movement speed, but it's entirely worth it. The ZLR Inflex barrel will give you a 12% boost in damage range, a tighter pellet spread, and drop the ADS to 367 milliseconds from the base speed, so it's not bad. The Urban King will boost your ADS to 300 milliseconds, which is nice. It'll increase your movement speed by 2%, that's also good. However, it widens your pellet spread, which is typically bad, and we don't want that. It even drops our damage range by 15%, and that's way too much. So it's best to avoid using this barrel. Stick with the ZLR Torrent barrel instead. For the laser, you want to set this to the 5mW laser. The JAK-12 already has the best hipfire in the shotgun category, and adding this will make it even better, along with your sprint to fire speed. The base sprint to fire speed is 334 milliseconds. With the 5mW laser, it'll drop it to 233 milliseconds, which is really good. The only con to this is that your laser will be visible to enemies. This can sometimes be a problem in close quarters, but the pros of the 5mW laser far exceed this one single con. The TAC laser won't help much here, and the 1mW laser only helps with the sprint to fire speed. It doesn't help with hipfire accuracy. Its laser isn't visible at least, but the 5mW laser is the easy choice here. One quick note on how the gun fires, there is an open bolt delay which you'll definitely feel when you're shooting, and when the pellets hit, they do base amount of damage per pellet, and for every 2 pellets that hit, there's a damage bonus. If you can land a headshot, it has a small boost in damage, but it's not enough to actually make you want to target the head. Just spam away as you hip fire the gun. For the ammo, there's a lot of interesting choices to pick from. Luckily, I've already tested all these out for you guys. By default, the JAK has 8 rounds with 16 in reserve. It takes 1.64 seconds to reload, and with sleight of hand, that can be dropped to 1.22 seconds. For Warzone specifically, you want to set this to the 20 round drum mag. So before today's update, you would supposedly lose some ADS here, but it never really changed. Now with the update, your ADS drops to 384 milliseconds. Not that it matters, since we'll mostly hip fire the JAK anyways. You'll lose some movement speed as well, where before the update it was a 3% reduction, and now after the update it's a 5% reduction, which still isn't too bad, so you want to stick with the 20 round drum mags for this gun. And even though the 32 round drum mags sound better, they're not. The ADS before the update dropped to 434 milliseconds, but now post update it actually got a buff even though it says the opposite. It's now at 417 milliseconds, but the real problem here is with the movement speed. Pre-patch it dropped by 10%, and after the update it changed to 9%. This is a huge reduction in movement speed. You're really going to feel this when you're running around, and sometimes it can be absolutely brutal. As for the slug mags, you can get a one-shot kill to the upper torso up to about 7 meters or so, which isn't good since you gotta be really precise with these and you can't hip fire the gun. You can get a one-shot kill to the head at any range, as crazy and weird as that sounds, but it's not easy to do. So to keep it simple, overall just stay away from these. With the Dragon's Breath rounds, you don't want to use these for Warzone. The devs were smart and limited the amount of damage you can do with them, so it'll still take that extra shot to kill even with these equipped. However, it's a different story for multiplayer. Since it requires less damage to kill people, it'll improve your one-shot kill potential, and it's very effective against non-EOD players. You'll just take a slight hit in overall damage range. For the frag rounds, these are the same explosive rounds that the Rytech can use, so they can shred through cars. Not everything else though. It's about 8 shots to destroy a helicopter, 12 shots to destroy a Bertha. So cars are your best bet to attack. These rounds will also be undetected by trophies, which is pretty cool. But they're not very good against people. You can get a one-shot kill to the upper torso within 30 meters if you get a direct impact hit. So you want to aim for that if you can. The bullet velocity is super slow and it has a lot of bullet drop. The splash damage isn't much help either. It barely does any damage, and if your enemy is too close to you, you can even hurt yourself. Pre-patch, these had the normal fire rate of the JAK at 339 rounds per minute. Post-patch, the fire rate has now been dropped to 282 rounds per minute, making it slightly slower than before. So out of all these options, for Warzone specifically, the 20 round drum mag is the way to go. Lastly, for the rare grip, you want to set this to the stippled grip tape. This will help with ADS and sprint to fire speed, which will become 300 milliseconds from the base sprint to fire speed of 334 milliseconds. A nice little improvement here. So now that wraps up the best class to use for Warzone. Now let's get into the best class to use for multiplayer. There's only 1 or 2 things you're going to change here. For the muzzle, I would remove the choke, and if you haven't already, equip the Forge Tack Marauder, just to get that extra damage range for multiplayer. And for the ammo, you have 2 options here. You can either go with the Dragon's Breath rounds for the extra damage, or go with the 20 round drum mags for the extra ammo. Personally, I like the extra ammo, so I go with the 20 rounds instead of the Dragon's Breath, which only has 8 rounds. As for all the other attachments, leave them the same, and that's your best class to use for multiplayer. My final thoughts on this gun is that it's an amazing shotgun. You can kill a lot of people with it, especially using the 20 round drum mag. It's actually even fairly complex, as you can use a lot of different types of ammunition. Hip firing this gun is definitely a lot of fun. You're going to shred through people. It's great to use in Warzone and multiplayer. Use this in a house or a room and you're going to destroy them. It is slower mobility wise than the R9O, so if you can, let the enemies come to you instead of chasing them down like you would with the R9O. But that about wraps it up for this video. If this was helpful to you or you just enjoyed it, please smash that like button and make sure you're subscribed to my channel with the notification bell on, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
What just happened, dude? What the?
Yeah, I got 5%.
Got him?
Holy
Nice.
Another one comes. Turn around.
Oh my god, teamwork. Dude, that thing is
Buy me back, dude.
He's there, right there.
Get out of here.
That's how the shotgun looks. Holy moly.
Shotgun's crazy.
What's up?
We got another people behind us on our right.
Oh, good there.
Wow. Wow. velho.
Ele 12, velho!
Keep going.
Down.
Plate up and let's go, help you guys.
He's dead. I got one more pushing me.
Coming, I'm coming.
Keep on.
Oh, I really don't give a shit.
He's crawling over there. Oh,
Nothing, guys. Killing it.
Here.
holy
Run
shit.
away,
Okay,
run away.
but
He's still there.
Dude.
I killed one. There's another one right here.
It just...
Didn't get a hit marker. Behind his name.
Oh, he got me, but here's Markham. Yep, 2 of them are here now.
I'm down.
Okay, coming. He's on the ground, he's on the ground.
Behind us, man. Behind us.
Over by green.
He's dead. To Mike.
Nice. Oh, he's right here! Oh my god. He's an upstairs, upstairs.
One down.
Oh no.
Windows closing fast.
damn it.
Gas is closing.
I'm f***ing gas. Alright, stop going around, stay up there.
Friendly drop back.
Somebody open the door. To Mike.
Nice.
Holy shit. Piece of...
Enemy took the hard point. Hard point secure.
I have to reload. Got you.
Returning to resupply. UAV overhead. Enemies got the hard point. Stand by the move. We've taken the hard point. UAV is ready for flyover. Cluster strike ready to launch. Okay, hide. Got the VTOL on station, ready to deploy.
Mark on target.
Personal radar drone ready.
Reloading.
UAV ready. Falcon fuel.
Stand back.
UAV is out of fuel. Precision airstrike ready. Enemy is shipping in. Hardpoint contested. Precision enemy personnel online. Wilson ready for deployment. Got the hardpoint. Get
Enemy
ready.
down.
We're about to move. We've got a UAV on site. We've got the hardpoint. Track it down.